Okay, today we're going to be solving quadratics by completing the square. And this is a method used when you cannot factor a quadratic equation. We have to learn first what completing the square is. Let's take these exercises. Let's say this is a special type of factoring. We want to add a number here so that the quadratic expression x squared plus 6x plus some number is equal to two factors that are the same. That's why it's square. It's called completing the square because we want the result to be a perfect square. So remember factoring. We need two numbers that multiply to give this number, but added gives us the 6. Now, if we want the two numbers to be the same, the two numbers that are the same, and the sum is 6, well, they're 3 and 3. So our two factors will be x plus 3 and x plus 3. So what number would go here? The product of 3 times 3. That's 9. See, two numbers whose product is 9 and sum is 6 are 3 and 3. So we have completed the square here. This next one. What two numbers have a sum of 10 and some product, but the two numbers are the same? So the two numbers who add 10 and are the same are obviously 10 divided by 2, 5. We put 5 here. So the number that goes here is the two 5's multiplied. 5 squared, which is 25. To complete the square, this other one, here we have negative 14x. Notice we have 1x squared minus 14x plus something is x plus something squared. So what two numbers added, and they are the same, give negative 14. That's negative 7 and negative 7. And here we have the product of the two. What's negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. This other one, this one's a little trickier because 3 doesn't have a half. We already noticed that this number is half of this one. The 3 is half of the 6. The negative 7 is half of negative 14. So, what is half of negative 3? That is negative 3 halves or 1.5. Let's put 3 halves. And what goes here is this one squared. A negative times a negative is a positive. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. So we have positive 9 fourths. The general rule is if we have 1x squared plus bx, we want to complete the square so that we can factor with two equal factors. We have that the number here is half of b. So we'll write that. b divided by 2, which is b halves. And the one that goes here is this one squared. That would be b squared divided by 2 squared, which of course is 4. This is completing the square. Always you have 1x squared, something x, and you take half of that number. That's what the factored form looks like. And then you square this number over here and add it here. This number will always be positive because it is a square. Now we're going to solve using this method. Let's say we have the equation x squared plus 8x equals 48. We want to complete the square. Notice we have 1x squared plus 8x, which means we need to add something, just like what we did here, to make it a perfect square. What we add is half of 8 That's 4 squared. Like here, half of 10, 5 squared. Okay, half of 8 squared, it's 4 squared, that's 16. But now we're working with an equation. So whatever we add on one side, we must add on the other side. So that's plus 16 here. Because we completed the square, the two numbers, we're going to factor. The two numbers whose product is 16 and sum is 8 are 4 and 4. So we have x plus 4 times x plus 4, which is x plus 4 squared. And on this side, we have 48 plus 16, and that's 64. Okay, we have an equation that only has one appearance of x. It's something squared, so we take the square root. The square root of this cancels the square, so here we have x, just x plus 4. And here the square root of 64. Always remember to put the positive or negative. Now the square root of 64 is 8, so this is positive or negative 8. Now, we want to leave x by itself. So we're going to subtract 4. Minus 4, minus 4. So here we have minus 4 plus or minus the square root of 8. Negative 4 plus the square root of 8, negative 4 plus 8 is 4. And negative 4 minus 8 is negative 12. And that's our solution to this equation, using completing the square. Let's see another one. Oops. We have this equation, x squared minus x minus 132. We want to solve it by completing the square. We can only work with the x squared and the x on one side of the equation. So the 132 bothers us. Easy. We cancel it and put it on the other side. We add 132 on this side, 132 on the other side. This cancels, so we get x squared minus x, here we go, equals 132. Now we complete the square. So what number do we need to add here to complete the square? We take the number that's multiplying the x, in this case negative 1, okay, divided by 2, that's negative 0.5, and we square it. So that would be plus negative 0.5 squared. And on the other side, we add the same thing. How much is negative 0.5 squared? It happens to be 0.25. Okay, now we factor. It was basically half of 1. So x plus negative 0.5. And here it's, what's 132 plus 0.25? It's 132.25. Then we get rid of the square. So here we have simply x minus 0.5. If you want, you can write plus negative 0.5. Same thing. And since we're taking the root, we do positive or negative square root of 132.25. And you go to your calculator and see how much this is. If it's an exact number, write it exactly. It happens to be positive or negative 11.5. To leave x by itself, we add 0.5. We add 0.5. And we have x equals 0.5 plus or minus 11.5. So x is either 0.5 plus 11.5, that is 12, or x is 0.5 minus 11.5, which is negative 11. And that's the solution to this equation. We can get a more complicated equation, like that one. We've got